Phoenix had their bouts with how they decided to go about attacking the very staunch and stingy Minnesota Timberwolves defense in Game 1. I think obviously they left a lot to be desired within their offensive process in terms of sticking to what was generally creating good shot quality. Regardless of the result, it's the matter of the process. The process, if it's repeatable, is something that you can put your money on, that this team is going to knock shots down from the shot quality that's generated from the different pieces they have to move around the chessboard. And I think because of that particular dynamic, all is certainly not lost. And they went to this specific action to start the fourth quarter, multiple possessions in a row with Devin Booker. And I think, again, like I spoke on in my series preview, it's certainly something that is repeatable for them. It's a template, keeping their big three players in consistent movement. You have three players that you can do it with. They all do so well out of multiple different contexts. They're also interchangeable within some of the same contexts. So keeping them in rotation, keeping the blending is important for them against this Minnesota Timberwolves team. So let's just look at these two reps, specifically taking place with Devin Booker on the floor to start the fourth quarter. So as we let it kind of flow through, you're going to see Devin Booker is essentially a screener set, but the angles at which the action is taking place is really aggressive and compromising the defense at the tempo and cadence at which it occurs at. So we see an exchange is going to occur between Eric Gordon and Devin Booker. Sometimes he fakes the screen in some misdirection. Sometimes they just generally exchange spots on the floor. Here, he looks like he wants to set the misdirection screen, just kind of faking it, ghosting off ball, if you will. But instead, he elects to just flow upward into the action that's the main part of the play. And then he goes to set the back screen here for Royce O'Neal, who's essentially making like a slice cut in a sense, going from one side of the floor to the block on the opposite side. And then after he sets this screen, Devin Booker then flows off of an immediate screen from Jusuf Nurkic. And you can see how it tugs at the strings of the defense. Depending on what coverage it is, if they're locking and trailing, there's going to have to be some help because obviously you don't want to give up the back door. But if you're switching, you got to be in position as well. So, and again, it's the cadence at which it's occurring that really stresses the defense. So we see Devin Booker, like I mentioned, set the screen for O'Neal. He cuts, and then Devin Booker then immediately flows off of the screen and screen-to-screener action. Curls this. That allows him direct access to Rudy Gobert, who's trying to get up near the level of the screen, trying to flatten out Devin Booker as he comes off of this. And now, as I slow it down even more, you can start to see the advantage being created off of the movement. It gets an overreaction out of the defense. Devin Booker's holding 2 to the ball. The Suns have a 2-versus-1 advantage on the weak side of the floor now. And at the mercy of Devin Booker with his processing as he stretches the 2 to the ball scenario, he allows for the rotation to set. And now they have Nasir Little in can't be right situation and scenario with this isolated tag. Obviously, he's going to help over for Rudy Gobert and help the helper to take away the rim. That leaves Royce O'Neal wide open. And where Devin Booker is optimized within the Suns process, especially when he's on the move, is when he's able to make these long-range and dynamic passes that force dynamic closeouts from defenders and just generally creates closeouts for his teammates to play off of, either for the catch and shoot or to drive and keep the advantage or to drive and score for themselves to execute within the advantage being set. Advantage Suns, he skips it to Royce O'Neal on a shakeup. And we want to also pay attention to this shakeup because it's important to not just have the advantage be set, but also you can exacerbate it even more. And by way of him shaking up to make this passing angle more friendly for Devin Booker, he also stretches this rotation for Nas Little. Instead of closing out to the short corner, he has to close out above the break. That's an extra 2 to 2.5 steps further for him in his rotation. All of that allows for momentum to Royce O'Neal to play off of. And he ends up getting this nice midi floater up. And we're going to take it back so you can just kind of see it play through in full speed and see how the advantage is created. And then next rep on the offensive side of the ball for the Suns, very next possession, they get back into the exact same action. So I talked about sometimes Devin Booker goes misdirection on that first screen. Sometimes it's just an exchange. We see it's a little bit more of a natural exchange here. Eric Gordon swapping positions on the floor, swapping spaces occupied on the floor, rather, with Devin Booker. And then we see Devin Booker now going to receive a screen from Royce O'Neal this time. And you can obviously see Nickeil Alexander-Walker sandwiching himself, trying to slide between both the screener and the person receiving the screen, and Devin Booker and Royce O'Neal, obviously. This is essentially top blocking, knowing that he has help underneath. He's just trying to squeeze through, trying to muddy up the flow and the process within the action. And this is actually, this screen being set from Royce O'Neal, I talked about on the first play, Devin Booker sets the screen for Royce. This is a read and react counter within this action. Something the Suns went to a few times over that latter third stretch of the regular season post All-Star break, even more so specifically like mid to late March, and obviously a couple times in April. Nonetheless, this read and react dynamic within the action still keeps them again in a position of dictating to the defense. You keep your movement, you have a built-in counter to still get to the action that you ultimately want to get to, which is screen to screener in a sense. Now it's going to kind of serve a little bit as staggers, as you obviously see the counter with Royce O'Neal now setting the screen for Devin Booker. And then we're going to see Devin Booker ultimately be able to shake free, pry himself open. Now he's going to receive a second screen from Jusuf Nurkic. And now pay attention to the route choice taken from Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And we talked about the Suns being able to read and react to getting the counters that keep them in a position of dictating even when opponents decide to apply pressure off ball. This is a direct example here. We saw in Exhibit A, and now we're seeing in Exhibit B. Devin Booker curled the first time, ended up forcing a late switch and holding two to the ball in addition to that as he stretched the rotations. Now we're going to see Devin Booker flare after he receives the screen from Jusuf Nurkic. You see him kind of fade as you see Nickeil Alexander-Walker again with his route choice try to jump the screen. You can burn that. Bradley Beal's on schedule with the timing on his pass. Devin Booker reacts to what he's seeing coverage-wise. They're able to play within the advantage. And now at this point with the catch point from Devin Booker, this is essentially like pick and roll in the middle third of the floor. And we're going to see Devin Booker get to one of his many moves that he uses in pick and roll when he has his defender trailing behind in any capacity. He's going to steal back the pace in the action. He's going to pin Nickeil Alexander-Walker on his backside, allow for Jusuf Nurkic to get into his role to take away Rudy Gobert. And you see him putting Nickeil Alexander-Walker in jail. Now he's going to kind of snake it just enough to get some separation. 1, 2, pull up, and he's right at the sweet spot. One of the spots on the floor, he knocks down the shot as efficiently as anybody in the league. And that's cash. And then we're going to let this one kind of flow through in real time so you can kind of see how the advantage and the read and react and it all takes place.